Hello and welcome to another episode of Divorce Discussions. And today we are going to talk about something that I think a lot of women are a little like, ew, not wanting to talk about too much. And that is about financial health and wellness. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Wendy Labat, the financial healer. She's the CEO of Financial Cures LLC. She's the creator of the Financial Cures System, a results-based program for financial mastery. Dr. Labat is the best-selling author of the Financial Cures book series, Diagnose Your Financial Health and Optimize Your Financial Wealth. She is the producer of the award-winning global streaming production of Financial Cures with Dr. Wendy Labat. I was saying your name wrong incorrectly, wasn't I? You were being so polite. Labat, right?
It's Labat, yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry. An esteemed entrepreneur, business strategist, and international speaker. Sorry, sometimes my brain just glitches. Dr.
That's
Wendy, I
okay. That's
apologize.
all right. No, I have to answer to anything close. I know who you're talking about.
Well, that's not right to say somebody's name wrong. Dr. Wendy Labat. I want to ask you, Dr. Wendy, tell us a little bit about what got you into this area. I know you are very passionate about the whole financial management, financial health aspect.
Well, since your topic is talking about, divorce, when I got divorced after my first marriage, I ended up starting a business, and I didn't have any business experience, and money was tight. So, I would go back that far, and it's been almost, it's been over 4 decades. And I can't believe I'm saying 4 decades. And back then, there was no internet or social media, and the only thing you could do was with the cell phone was make an expensive call. And my clients were corporate America and government agencies. So in order to be able to do business with them, the level that I wanted, I had to, have the brick and mortar employees and, carry an inventory and all the overhead that goes with that. And like I said, I was a rookie entrepreneur. I didn't know anything about business. I just was saying I'm going into business. So I suffered a lot of financial ills, anorexic income, obese debt, spending addiction, mindset and knowledge deficiency, and other financial ills. And I eventually, found the prescriptions to be able to, conquer those illnesses. And it worked out. I learned the hard way, but, hey, a lesson is a lesson as long as I learned. But in 2014, the government mandated that everybody have health insurance. So, I expanded my business to include insurance and financial services. And in 2017, it's going back, I bought all the products I was selling from a, business and marketing strategy and not from a personal financial planning strategy. But in 2017, I was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of breast cancer. So I said, okay, if it's going to be aggressive, I'm going to be aggressive in my treatment because I'm conquering this disease. So that aggressive treatment meant chemotherapy every 3 weeks for a year. I had 5 surgeries, and I did all the CAT scans and, MRIs and everything it took to conquer the disease. So, I lost my hair, and, my brain took a beating. I had chemo brain where I couldn't remember what I said, what I wanted to say, or what I was about to say. And, I lost my brows, my lashes, my hair, literally my fingernails and my toenails. I didn't have anything. And the only good thing about that is that I saved a fortune on not having to get my hair done and not having to wax and get manicures and pedicures. But, I was like, okay, my medical bills amounted to almost $1.5 million. And I'm like, good Lord. But thank God I practiced what I preach because my health insurance paid all that. And all those supplemental products that I bought, from a business marketing perspective that I never thought I'd have to use, paid me multiple 6-figure tax-free shots, financial shots in the arm that allowed me to focus on my recovery and not worry about money. So can you imagine having $1.5 million worth of medical bills on top of your personal expenses and your business expenses, while you're battling breast cancer? It could have been devastating, but thank God it wasn't. So after I became cancer free,
Yay.
that's what I said,
What?
yay. And I said, Lord, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm in my comfort zone, I am good. And he's like, no, I didn't take you through that journey and bring you out better than when you went in for you to be good in your comfort zone. So he's charged me to go on a crusade to empower other people to not let an illness or injury ruin them financially, and to empower others, like I said, especially women, divorced women, can really, take advantage of my, knowledge and experience, and not let, them get ruined financially, but also empower them to take control of their finances, become financially free, build a financial legacy, and live the life they desire. And like I
Yeah.
said, having been divorced, I was a professional, but still, when you have to make a transition like that, it takes a toll on you financially, emotionally. There are all kind of factors involved in that. And you do have to, regroup and get it together.
Yeah.
I applaud women that go through that and come out on the other side, but I want to encourage them that it doesn't matter that you're losing that income or that's what you think is security, because when you bottom line is you're the security when it
Yeah,
comes to it.
yeah. Well,
Mhm.
first of all, what an amazing story, and I'm so happy that you were able to say that you beat it, you got through it, and you did that, and what an amazing accomplishment. But as somebody, I didn't have the health scare, but my husband had a massive stroke in 2010, and after less than a month in the hospital, we had over $325,000 in medical bills, no insurance. We were both entrepreneurs and no insurance. I'm from Canada. We don't have this kind of problem up there. And it really took me by surprise when I
Mhm.
actually read that first medical bill. And I thought, there's got to be some kind of a typo here somewhere. So, yeah, I mean, it's terrifying. But what do you think, other than protecting yourself from the well, first, let's go with that. If you are a woman who is a sole income earner for a house, what do you recommend is a way that you can protect yourself other than just having the basic health insurance? Because I heard you say you had many products. So
Well, you have to protect your health, your life, and your legacy. And especially if you have children, you definitely have to have health insurance, because a lot of people don't think that's a priority. They'll insure their house and their car and their cell phones, but they won't, protect their health. And you have to, not only have health insurance, but you got to have the right health insurance, because 60% of the people that filed bankruptcy had health insurance. 80 people, 60% of people that filed bankruptcy is because of medical bills. And
right.
80% of those folks had health insurance. So you got to have the right coverage to keep, from having to pay astronomical amounts, even, with the insurance. So you need the right health insurance, but you also need, life insurance. And it's not just the traditional whole life, but if money is tight, you can get a term policy. But they've got a feature um, now that a lot of people aren't aware of. It's called living benefits. And living benefits will pay you up to 90% of your death benefit if you, get a heart attack, stroke, cancer, and there's some other, situations that they'll pay. And with that, I get my clients, I try to get them into a $500,000 term life policy with living benefits, and I match it with an index universal life, which, helps build the cash value. But if something happens, they can pull from that term, and get up to 450,000, depending on the severity of the disease, and still leave like 50,000 for their family. So, you got to protect in layers.
Yeah.
And, a lot of folks say, well, I can't afford that. But I also have a spending challenge that I have my clients go take, that helps them find the money to pay for what they think they can't afford. If they think they can't afford, $100 a month, when they start that spending challenge, they realize they're spending $100 a month drinking coffee every day from Starbucks,
That's what I was going to
so
say. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Or,
so
it's amazing how we've all, eh, eh, uh, apps that we're paying, like it seems so little, like it's $2 a month or something. You get 10 or 20 of those on, that's adding up every month and then every year. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, even if you're, I found I was using one app that found out it identified that I was paying for two Amazon Prime accounts. It's like, why do I don't even need two? So it's a lot of things that when you don't do that deep dive, you really don't know, where your money is going. You're wondering where it went. So that's
Right.
what I try to help people with.
Right. Do you find overall, and this is maybe a tough question because do you work with men and women, or is it mostly women you work with?
Well, I work with men and women. Yeah.
Okay.
I work with anybody who's serious about getting their finances
Okay.
straight.
Do you do you find that typically women are a little and I'm going to say this, I know I was a little less maybe financially savvy about, not about the day-to-day stuff, but about things like investing and insurance and how to invest correctly, or is that too general?
Well, no, I would say yes and no. I find that single women are a little more savvy about that because, like especially divorced women, they're trying to, get ahead of the game. They may struggle in the beginning, but, eventually they kind of wise up and see how to, make their money work for them or how to benefit with what they've got, and women are good at that. And a lot of times, even in divorce situations, the women been taking care of the books the whole time, so the husband is the one that don't know what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They may think that they're savvy, and then a lot of the stuff that they get as far as investment is usually through their employer. So it's not like they're more savvy, it's just that they have better access to those kind of things.
Right, right. What about like, do you do anything around the how to maximize your 401ks and all that, Roths and all the different investment tools that you can use? Do you work with people on that?
I do. As a matter of fact, I show a comparison of, investing your money in an IRA and investing your money in an IUL, the Index Universal Life. And the illustration I shows, two 35-year-olds, investing the same amount of money where the one invests in the 401k with an employer match, and the other one does the Index Universal Life, and they both want to pull out like $52,000 a year. The We call qualified and non-qualified, or seed and tax-free harvest. So with the 401k, they give you that little incentive, like it's tax-free money, it's pre-tax money when you invest it, but it's taxable money when you pull it out. And
Right.
that's, the seed that you plant is minuscule compared to the harvest that you pull out. So the taxes are astronomical. And with the Index Universal Life, it's money that you've already paid taxes on. But when you pull out that harvest, all that's tax free. So the illustration shows that, the same two people made those investments. When they want to pull out that $52,000 a year, the one that has the 401k has to pull out, like, I think it's like 69,000 in order to pay the taxes to get the 52,000. But the other person with the IUL, they just pull out the 52,000. And in about 13 years, the person that invested in the 401k, they've run out of money because they've exhausted, that 401k, that pot of money. With the Index Universal Life, you're pulling it out, but you're not touching your principal. So it's constantly making money, and it's tax free. So, you pull that $3,000 out every year, and you can do it for like, I think it was said you can still get paid up until you were 100 years old, and
Wow.
you can still leave a benefit for your family that's more significant than what it would have been if you would have had a 401k. So, it's not, I don't say don't invest in the 401k. I'm saying invest into it where the employer will match and where you can maximize, but you take that same amount of money and put it in the Index Universal Life. Not only do you have that long-term cash benefit, but you also have the living benefits and you have the death benefits. So it gives you three pots of money that will last your lifetime and leave a legacy for your family.
So why do you think then, that's really interesting. And thank you for giving that clear example of it. Why do you think that the common, I mean, everybody I've talked to says this is the way to go. You've got to have that for if your employer does a match, you've got to maximize that. And that's kind of your golden ticket to retirement. Why don't more people talk about the options like this?
Because they don't know. And then when you go in there to get your 401k, that you've heard that so long that you think that's it. And your HR person isn't explaining it to you. They're not saying, this versus that. And and back in the day, and nobody's really talking about index universal life and living benefits, so a lot of people just don't know. So they're going by, the traditional thing that's been going on for years and years. And it's unfortunate because, I also have a tax business and I've got a lot of, clients that have, did really well. They were professionals, made a lot of money, and they're getting big retirements, but they're paying big taxes because the house is paid for, the kids are grown, so they don't have the same, deductions and expenses they had when they were working. So, it's all about understanding where you are. What worked for you when you were working may not necessarily work for you when you retire. So you have to really look at, each day you have to make the adjustments according to, what you're trying to do and where you are in life.
Okay. And that's, I think you're right. I mean, and it's having somebody like yourself who understands the possibilities and can walk you through your options, not just with the short-term benefits, but also, what this is going to look like when you want to start pulling it out. So
Mhm.
let's say we're talking to a woman who has just gone through a divorce or in the process of divorce. There's not going to be a lot of assets in the relationship. Like a lot of people really are living paycheck to paycheck. Neither party is going to be able to maintain the home. So that's going to be sold and assets divided. So where's the starting point when you're kind of thinking like, I'm not even sure how I'm going to, live paycheck to paycheck. Now somebody's telling me I need to start saving money for retirement. Where's the starting point? How do you advise women in particular to work around that?
Well, I advise all my clients to diagnose your financial health. You have to know where you are. You have to take a realistic look at where you are because even though you may not have what you had before, you have to know where you are in order to get to where you want to be and where you need to be first and then where you want to be. So they have to, it's all about strategy too. A lot of people are devastated by the transition from being a married person to a single person. So, you got to kind of get your mind right. So you got to think right. You got to, change that mindset. And you have to, like I said, look at where you are realistically, and you have to work with what you have and then, take those resources and, maximize them and take advantage of other resources. And another thing I teach people is how to increase their income without getting a second job. They've got loyalty programs and the fast food place, McDonald's, have loyalty programs. So if you got kids and they like McDonald's, you can get free McDonald's with the loyalty program with the points. So, I teach my clients how to do that as well, how to maximize, just their everyday activities, shopping and, getting points for that give you discounts on gas because you bought groceries or pay for prescriptions, and that gives you, up to $1 off a gallon. I know when gas prices were sky high, I made a point to take advantage of that. But I'm a loyalty and points person. That's just, the way I live now. But I didn't always live like that. But,
Right.
when you do, you find that you're not paying for things. So, rich folks, they don't pay for a lot of stuff, because people want to give them things, so, to promote their brand. And then they know how to maneuver. They
Right.
don't have to have the latest of this. And even though they could afford it, but your priorities have to change. You can't live the same lifestyle as a single or divorced woman that you did when you were married, and you have to understand that and realize it and make those adjustments. So,
Yeah. You know,
we
it
just kind of see where they are.
it's funny you said about loyalty points because I shop at, rather than shop at Walmart, I'll just say it,
Mhm.
rather than shop there, which sometimes has cheaper prices, I shop at a little local chain store here in Texas. and they give you those points that you can use at the pump. And
Mm-hmm.
the other thing I started doing is I bit my pride, and I started taking the senior discount on Tuesdays. So I go,
I know that's right. I know that's
it
right.
doesn't sound
I
like a lot,
know.
but you save a few dollars, and why not take advantage of these things when they're offered? So yeah, yeah.
And
Thank
another
you.
thing I tell people is, and my daughter calls me the thrift store queen. She said, "Mama, you just TSQ." I said, "What is that?" She said, "Thrift store queen," because I have the designer bags, designer clothes, and all that, but I get them from the thrift store. You can be, sharp as a tack, but you can, buy it at a thrift store, and my daughter teases me because she said, "Mama, your whole outfit, that's sharp. How much you spend for that whole outfit from head to toe? $20, $25," because there are deals like that out there,
Yeah,
so especially if you got kids, why spend a fortune on all these designer things when you go right to the thrift store, get that same stuff,
yeah.
wash it and iron it, and they look just nobody knows the difference.
Nobody knows. Exactly. You're
Mhm.
right. Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Wendy, this has been fantastic. And I really love that you've given this practical side to finances, because a lot of times we hear a lot of theoretical stuff and a lot of names, but you've actually made it very clear and painted really clear pictures. So what do you think is the most important thing we talked about here today?
Well, I think the most important thing is just taking a realistic look at where you are and facing the fact, because there are people that just don't want to face the fact. They want to have this image and project an image. I'm not saying you got to tell all your business, but, don't front, especially with yourself. You got to be real with yourself. And my clients, I tell them, don't front with me because I can't help you if you're trying to fake it. I can't, I need to know the real deal. And you need to know the real deal more than I do for you to see, make that transition or, transform your thinking, because that's the key thing. You got to think right. And my mantra is think right, speak right, and do right, and things will flow right to optimize your financial health. And when I say things, I don't mean just money. I mean, your discernment, your actions and discipline, your relationships, and, just everything will flow right. But you have to, like I said, think right, speak right, and do right for that to happen.
Absolutely. And if people want to learn more about what you do or work with you, what's the best way to reach you?
Well, I'm going to give two things. One, they can contact me with my show. I have a show link, or not link, website, fincures.com. That's fincures.com. And it has the first two seasons of my show. The first season is about personal finance, and the second season is about business finance. And we're about to film our third season in June, but it gives them information, it helps them, about credit, about, all kind of stuff, insurance and everything. And that will give them access to my free spending challenge, 7-day spending challenge, which will help them find, the money to pay for what they think they can't afford. And it has all my contact information.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go take a look at that, by the way.
Okay.
Always, everybody can learn, right? Thank you so much for sharing all this information, and for your kind and generosity of giving away the gift and the challenge and everything. So thank you, Dr. Wendy.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.